I don't often do deck profiles, but you people asked for it. Hey guys, today I'll be deck profiling my Angel Feather deck that I went 5-3 with in German regionals. I could have honestly done better with it, but I mean, there's some things that you just can't change, but 5-3 is pretty good and I'm honestly really proud of the deck. It still runs super well and I'm really happy with the build that I made. So let's get right into it. The starter we have is Black Candle Azrael. Basically, she's a GB1, you can count +1 and put her in the soul, top deck a damage, and then take one face-up damage and put it to your hand. So it's a direct +1, it's really nice. You can take out perfect guards or no CLs and stuff like that from your damage, put them into your hand, nice and easy, all is good. Moving on to the main grade 3 of the deck is Black Shiver Gavrail. Basically, she has the best GB2 in the game in my opinion. When the card is put into the damage zone, your entire front row gets +2k. So even when you take a damage and you're in GB2, she gets +2k, if not more. And her on-strike skill is also another thing about a GB2 is a continuous skill. So let's say if you have a card that calls something out during battle phase and she's your Vanguard, then that new card will get the applied GB2 stack. So if you've already swapped 3 times, then the newly called card will also get a +6 just because it's a continuous skill. Then her other skill is a count +1 when you stride on top of her. You look at top 3 cards of your deck, put one into your damage zone, and then call one out that is face up. So super good card. Honestly, one of the best like GB grade 3s in the game. For GB2 is like my favorite thing in the world. For backup grade 3, I play Accidental Celestial Batarel. And she legions with either the new legion mate or the old one. Basically, when you ride her, you look at top 3, put one into your damage zone, and then heal one. And then the on legion skill is you self-damage yourself 1, and then take a card from your damage zone and call it. And then if you have either her or the legion mate in your damage zone, then the cold unit gets +5k. So she's pretty good. The reason why I play her instead of the old legion is because I prefer utility over raw power, because I'm already having a lot of raw power like with my strides and stuff and GB2s, so I prefer the utility choices instead. Nurse of Broken Heart is like the best grade 2 in the game for me. Like she's really good because her GB1 is when a card is put into the damage zone, both her and your Vanguard deal +2k. So if you have 2 of them on the field while you have Gavrail on the field, then just 1 damage is going to give Gavrail a +7k boost, and both of them get a +4k boost. So they suddenly become these 13k powerhouses from 1 damage check. Like from 1 random tech into the damage, or 1 no CL or whatever, just from 1 damage. So she's super good. She allows you to make so many cool tricks with the deck, it's amazing. A cool little Amber clone that Angel's got is Black Slice Harut. Basically, when she has the Amber condition, and basically you look at top 2 cards, put one into your damage zone, and then call one out. So this goes really well with Gavrail's GB2, because when you call that new card out, the new card will get whatever buff Gavrail is already giving. So this allows for 4th attacks, if not 5th, because you usually play stand triggers, and it's just generally really good grade 2. Now moving on, I play 3 Love Machine Gun No CL, so this is the old school No CL. Super good in fixing great stacks, super good in making these clutch swaps that you would need to make to like get those special cards. Works as an unflipper as well, really good. I didn't explain her skill. When she's called, you put a card from your hand into the damage zone, and then you choose a card from your damage zone and put it into your hand. So it can be a face down that you can take into your hand, so you technically unflip 1. So that's why you really have to watch what you counter blast, because you might be adding it to your hand or you might be healing it away. It's up to you. And then I played 2 of the Legion mate because I do not Legion that much, and I played 2 of the old one because it's much better than the new one. Basically, when she hits, you can count +1 and put her in the damage zone, and then call a card that is not Asmodel from your damage zone onto the field, so you can get an extra attack, and it does a lot of hit pressure. And like, I don't Legion much, I only Legion when I'm about to deck out usually. But just as a pressure card, she's really good. For grade 1s, I play 4000 Ray Pegasus, super good card. Just when a card is put into the damage zone, it gets +2k. So it's as good as a first ride, because if your opponent tries to rush you, then you keep getting +2k every time you take damage, and then suddenly the rush is kind of like invalidated. And also it's really good for fixing huge columns, and generally an amazing grade 1. Moving on to Battle Cupid No CL. This is a super important card for this deck because it allows you to abuse Gavrail's GB2 to hell and back. Basically, when you guard with it, you put a card from your hand into the damage zone, and then you choose a card from your damage zone and put it into your hand. So you instantly trigger Gavrail's GB2, Nurse of Broken Hearts, GB1, and stuff like that, and you instantly start building up these huge defenses. So I really like no CL, both grade 1 and grade 2, but obviously grade 1 is a bit superior. I play 3 Stride Helpers because they also work as searchers for Gavrail, because most of the games you really want to be on Gavrail rather than the Legion. So I've had games where I stick on grade 2, and then I will, I don't know, call out a no CL, and then with no CL I'll get one of these from a damage zone, call one of these, and then get myself a Gavrail. Other than that, she's just a Stride Helper, which you do need in the deck. And finally, 4 G Perfect Guards, because you do want to unflip, even though it's not that important. But thing is, your rear guards, they can die, but usually you're gonna have a backup in the damage zone. So I prefer the G Perfect Guards just because, like, sometimes you do need the unflip, because sometimes you'll spam your unflips really fast and then you're just gonna need them really ASAP. So that's when this can be really good. Moving on to triggers, we play 4 of this amazing stand trigger, Dr. White Refrost. Basically, GB1, you can count as 1, put the stand trigger back on the top of your deck and choose 2 cards from your damage zone and put them into your deck as well. So you kind of unflip 2 cards immediately. And then for every card that you put back into your deck, you top deck damage that many, and then you draw a card. So let's say you use a skill to put back 2 damage into the deck, so then you would top deck 2 damage and draw a card. So it's really good because it refreshes your counterblast for like nothing. And like, just stand pressure is nice. Like, I honestly like stand triggers because they catch your opponent off guard. I play 5 crits, 1 of the vanilla one and 4 of critical hit angel. Basically put in the soul and you choose a unit to give it plus 3k power. It's nice, it helps with one of the strides when you need more soul. So I play 5 crit and 3 draw because you plus so much in the deck with Gavrail and Harut and all this other stuff. You just make so much plus that you don't need the draws that much, but you still want them for early game. So that's why I kind of have them at 3. I would maybe even play 2, but I think 3 is fine. And then we play 4 heals, which is Sunny Smile Angel. Pretty self-explanatory. It returns back to deck, helps you not deck out, helps you heal 12 times per game. You know, that kind of thing. This heal is honestly superior to any other heal in Angel Feather, and honestly, that's the entirety of the main deck, and it runs super smooth, and it's really, really nice. Moving on to the G Zone, it's pretty self-explanatory. I play 4 of Raphael. Basically, you stride her, you persona flip, you heal. Easy. She is a heal. She makes your deck have at least 6 heals. And it's really awesome because you can heal yourself when your opponent's at 5 and you're like at 3. You can put yourself down to 2. Get yourself out of dangerous situations because being at 4 is really dangerous. And then you can just heal back to 3. Or if you're at 3 and you're afraid of triple crit, well, if you're at 3 and you heal back to 2 and you still get triple crit, then you can't do much about that. But she can get you out of dangerous situations. I really like her as a second stride because usually I'll be at 4 by the time I stride for the second time. So she can put me down to 3. I can afford more to let through more attacks, to use up less shield, to save more hand power. And yeah, she's a really good stride. No wonder she's a triple rare. I play 1 Holy Seraph Uriel. She's the Fighters Collection double rare. Basically, when she hits, you look at top 3, put 1 into your damage zone, and call a grade 2 or less out from your damage zone and gets plus 2k. So she's good pressure card. She's really just there for pressure. Sometimes I'll stride her if I have low damage, because if I have high damage, it's either going to be Raphael or the stride I'm going to get into next. But she's good when I'm at low damage and I don't want to heal yet, or I don't want to pressure for big numbers yet, so Uriel can be good. This is the MVP stride in my opinion, Holy Seraph Raziel. Basically, when you stride him, you Soul Blast 2, and you put your entire damage zone back to your deck, and then you top deck damage for as many as you put back. So this can make so many combos that I'll show in a little bit. But it's a super good card. It's the best finisher in the deck, I think, because it just makes you hit for huge numbers, and it also refreshes all your counterblasts. So if you somehow counterblasted 5, you can just kind of stride him and refresh your entire thing. And then finally 1 Blitza. Always, always, always I first tried this because it's so good to open on it. You open up your Gavrail's GB2 immediately, which is super abusable, and then yeah, it's just always a first stride for me. I just kind of always stride it first. So quick example on one of the best finishers in the game. Let's say you have a field like this. Let's say it's like you somehow have 2 broken hearts, you have one of the ponies, you have your starter, and then all you need is your stride fodder. So you're going to stride, and then you're going to go into Raziel. So Raziel's skill normally, it says that when you stride him that you Soul Blast 2 and you refresh your entire damage zone. But because Gavrail's skill has the same play timing, you can choose to resolve that first. So in this case, you would use Gavrail's skill to counterblast 1 and look at top 3 cards of your deck. okay, yeah, triple heal, you put 1 in the damage and the 2 on the bottom of your deck, and then you can still call out a card from your damage zone, for example a pony, and then you use Raziel's skill to Soul Blast 2 and basically refresh your entire damage zone and put it back to your deck, shuffle, shuffle, and suddenly everything gets a buff, because this gets +2 for every damage placed, this gets +2, all of them except for the starter get +2, and then basically your ponies, your 1000 Ray Pegasus will be hitting for 17k, they'll be hitting for 19k each, because this one would get the +2 from Gavrail's skill, and this one, all of these cards get +2s from the fact that you swap the damage with Gavrail's skill. And then, and let me just finish, like I'll take my damage from, yeah sure, triggers everywhere, it doesn't really matter, I didn't properly shuffle, but then yeah, you refresh your damage. And thing is that because you did the first swap with Gavrail's skill, so everything already got +2. Then you do 5 swaps with Raziel, and you suddenly have another +10 everywhere. So all of these cards have +12, and because Nurses of Broken Heart give the buff to the Vanguard as well, the Vanguard has basically a +24. So this allows you to reach huge numbers. You could even place another Nurse of Broken Heart like behind the Vanguard or something to give even more buffs to the Vanguard, but that's not really necessary. But like to maximize the power, you can also use the stand triggers, because sometimes when I really want to finish the game, like my opponent's at 4 or 5 and I know they're not going to make it out, I just spam the stand triggers, because then I get huge buffs. Like my entire field has a massive ass buff, and I put back stand triggers, so then I will attack with a rearguard first, which they will probably let pass, but then if I check a stand, they have another problem coming at them, which is really not something you want to face when your opponent strides into a Raziel. So it's one of these like basic combos, but there's a lot of combos with Angel Feather. If I were to make a full video, it would take a lot longer, but this is the main finisher. Other than that, you can do a lot of cool shenanigans with Harut. You can have, like, let's say a Nurse of Broken Heart in your damage zone and have a Harut here, and then let's say you attack with one Nurse of Broken Heart, and then you attack with your Vanguard or something, then, you know, Twin Drive, nothing special, and then you can use Harut to, well, let's say you counterblast 1, and then you call another Nurse of Broken Heart out, you suddenly have a 4th attack, and because you swapped once, she's gonna have a +2, and so is Harut, and everything just gets a nice little +2. So it's nice little mechanics that you can do with this deck. Honestly, you learn a lot of it through testing, and it's generally a really fun deck. I recommend it to everyone that feels like having a more challenging deck, I guess, because it's definitely not autopilot. You have to think a lot when you're playing it, but once you do learn it, it's really fun and really rewarding, so I do recommend it for anybody that likes Angel Feather or likes beautiful art or anything like that. The main weakness of the deck, I would say, is when your opponent grade locks themselves intentionally, because then you kind of like, you can't stride, and this deck does rely on stride quite a bit, and you can't Legion either, so the best you can do is kind of ride the other grade 3 and kind of fill up your damage zone with stuff, but that's not really that helpful. So when your opponent like just grade locks themselves on purpose, if you can't rush them hard enough, you're probably gonna lose, or it's gonna be hard to come back from, because you lose so much, you lose such a big deficit when your opponent grade locks themselves, because you need to stride first usually. You can stride second, but you need to stride, that's the point. And the sooner you do it, the better, honestly. So I'm still kind of working around. I want to see if I can have an answer to intentional grade lock. Usually that's limit break units, so I still have to kind of look into it. But I'm really happy with how the deck is performing right now. Anybody that doesn't intentionally grade lock themselves will probably lose to this, because that's kind of how it went down in Worlds for me. And yeah, it's really good deck, honestly. I'm very happy with it, and I do recommend it to anybody else that wants to try it. So that's pretty much it for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.